Just visit the new calgaryherald.com with more of everything worth knowing.
They issued me a check.
It was a check that was never cashed. $5,000 to Brian Babwik following his son's death.
He's an easygoing guy, and
Brian Babwik may not show it on the outside, but the anger and frustration is still there, just below the surface. Whereas there's no emotions in a fatality report, just impersonal, cold, hard facts.
I just had to see it for myself, where he had fallen in and everything, because they said,
Brian's son, 20-year-old Sheldon Babwik, fell 1 meter into an unfenced open excavation pit on an Edmonton construction site.
He was like a severe diabetic and everything, and that sort of, for the most part, him growing up and everything, that sort of put a damper on quite a bit of his activities and everything like that, and which he had a lot of seizures during his growing up with that, and that's what eventually did him in.
Sheldon was unconscious and not discovered for 20 minutes. He drowned in the pit's muddy bottom. Investigators cited 7 safety violations. Co-workers complained about the unguarded pit. In the end, Crown prosecutors decided against laying charges.
It happened so fast and furious.
It's a disturbing trend. Since 2000, 1,285 workers lost their lives because of a job, some as a result of safety violations. During that time, there were only 101 prosecutions of deaths or injuries.
Frankly, we think that the government should be cracking down on those employers. They should be much more aggressive in enforcing their own rules, because if they don't, workers will continue to pay with their bodies in terms of injuries, and sometimes with their lives.
A year-long Herald investigation into 208 worker deaths on the job has uncovered disturbing flaws in Alberta's enforcement system. Only a third of the cases where problems were identified were prosecuted to a verdict.
Alberta is doing very well compared to other jurisdictions on our safety record.
Alberta's Labour Minister says the government has done a phenomenal job on safety education. But Thomas Lukaszuk admits it may be time to crack down on offenders.
Up to now, it's fair to say that Alberta has been focusing on a more collaborative approach, with education being the cornerstone. And again, I think it worked relatively well and comparably very well to other provinces. But my approach now will be more enforcement, and that may mean administrative fines.
Alberta had the second highest fatality rate in the country in 2008. But among provinces that prosecute, it ranked dead last. Workplace deaths hit a 26-year high in 2008, with a drop last year as the economy slowed. While our fines average the highest in the country, the number of prosecutions in Alberta still hasn't gotten back to the levels seen in the 1980s. Lorraine Bowry's son was killed by a falling pipe near Grand Cache back in 2005.
I think it was good, right? It was a good thing. They got fined big time, and I'm glad they did. But if it doesn't make any changes there, what is the point?
Bowry is one of several frustrated families we spoke to who feel not enough is being done to protect Alberta's workers. Rick Donkers, CalgaryHerald.com.